views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Show you the way. Let me be your shining light. Keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try.
Hello, welcome to my show, Patty's Page. This is Patty Hunter. And this week I have two special guests. One will be a phone-in later on. And the other one here is Donna J. Harrison.
Hello, Patty.
She's the Executive Director of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and we'll call that for short
APLUG.
APLUG. Okay. So we're going to be talking with Kristen Hawkins pretty soon. She is the Executive Director for Students for Life of America, and she'll be on the phone in a couple minutes. So welcome to my show,
Thanks.
Donna.
Thanks for having me.
So you are, where are you? Whereabouts is?
Well, APLUG's located in the cloud. We are actually all over the country.
You know.
We have 2,500 members, most of them OBGYNs, but a growing number of family practice doctors and some midwives and PAs. And we actually have a number of international members as well.
Oh. Is Kristen on the hook? Is Kristen there? Hi. Kristen, are you there?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear. You guys seem really far away.
Oh, we are far away. Kristen, welcome to my show. And I have Donna J. Harrison here, who is the Executive Director of American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecology. So,
hi, Donna.
Hi, Kristen. We know each other.
Oh, you do?
We do.
Oh, my stars.
Kristen's wonderful.
How long have you known her?
What do you say, Kristen? 6, 8, 10 years? Something like that.
Yeah, for a long time.
So you work together then?
Yeah, we have different projects. Yep.
So what's the latest?
Well, Kristen, you want to start because you have the shortest time?
Sure, that's fine.
So what are you doing with APLUG?
Well,
I can barely hear you, Patty. What are you asking?
What she asked is she was wondering about projects that we've done together, and the one that comes to mind right now is the Matthew Bulfin Conference. You know,
yeah.
Students can be sponsored to come to the APLUG annual conference, and so we do that for Students for Life.
So what do you do for it, Kristen?
Well, we advertise it out to the medical students that we work with, and then Donna and us, we actually worked on some new pamphlets put out for our medical students. And we actually have 4 new pamphlets that are now just being out to all the campuses.
How many campuses do you have now? Are you all over
We have about 35 active med students for life groups across the country.
How many are you still branching out to the other colleges and universities, aren't you?
Yeah. There's about 838 combined with everybody together.
Oh, my. Well, you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
What do you think of the GOP winning?
Oh, it was a great day, for the pro-life movement. I think, the biggest obstacle we now face, though, is going to be holding the GOP to the promises they made in the election. Getting, for the pro-life movement, our big action items right now are going to be getting Planned Parenthood federally funded, getting the unborn child pain capable bill passed, where to ban abortions after 20 weeks and children can feel pain. I mean, these are two of the bigger initiatives that the pro-life movement has been concerned with. So we've gotten votes on in the House, but we haven't been able to get votes on in the Senate. So now we'll be able to do that. I mean, sadly, we'll have a larger issue, though, of the president threatening to veto anything. So we still have to work on that.
Yeah, we have to soften his heart, you know.
Sure. Well, the good thing is if we can get it passed by the Senate and House, then it'll put a lot of pressure on the president before he thinks about vetoing the bill.
Well, where are you now, dear?
I'm at my house in Minnesota, and I'm getting ready to head out. We actually have a Northern Students for Life leadership conference today in the Twin Cities, so I'm getting ready to head out there and train some students.
How many do you think will show up?
We'll probably have about 30 students or so. We try to get leaders from various groups. So we've got students who came in last night from North and South Dakota and Wisconsin as well.
What's the farthest place that you have your pro-life leaders in colleges as well as universities?
I mean, nationally?
Yeah.
We have groups in 49 states. I think the farthest would be Alaska.
Oh, marvelous. How about California?
Yeah, we have a lot of groups out in California. We actually have, California has the most Students for Life groups in one state.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the hot spot in United States, in the nation, that you have to work hard at? What country, what state?
Well, actually, it's kind of the opposite of what you would think. It's actually here in the Midwest.
Oh.
The Midwest, we have found, has been the most difficult place to organize students, get them motivated, and get them prepared to go on campus and save lives. It's kind of counterintuitive. A lot of people think, people will tend to be more pro-life or more conservative in the Midwest. But there's actually a lot you have to work through with students, talking to them about how being pro-life, speaking out for life, helping women and children is not judgmental, it's not shaming, it's helping women choose life, and you're saving lives.
Are you going to the March for Life next year?
Of course, yeah, we'll be there. I'm actually speaking this year on the stage. So we'll be there. We have our pro-life conference, the nation's largest pro-life conference. Every year we do it right around the March for Life. So the March for Life will be on Thursday, and our national conference will be on Friday for students and adults. You can go to sflalive.org to get all the details, see all the speakers. We have Abby Johnson, Professor Robbie George, Peggy Hartshorn, Jason Jones, a lot of great folks coming this year.
Okay, what was I going to... You going to have a question for her?
No, I just want to say the Students for Life conference is great. I went there last year. It's just wonderful. If you're a pro-life student, you should really plan on attending.
Is it just with Christians or everybody that you're working with for the March for Life?
It's for anyone.
Anyone. I've heard of a lot of young people marching for the March for Life. They're turning out in droves.
That's right, yeah. I mean, if you look at the March for Life makeup every year, if you're in Washington, D.C., you will see that the vast majority of people there at the march are under 25.
Wow, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well, I know that you don't have too much time. When do you have to go to this?
I'm getting ready to head out the door now. I just figured I'd call in and say hello to my friend Donna.
Yeah.
And wish you all well.
Yep, you too.
Well, Kristen, thank you for calling in. I know it was a short interview with you, but it was lovely, and we love you, and all the best with Students for Life of America.
All right. Thank you all. God
Love
bless.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
She's great.
Yeah, she is great.
She's great.
I've known her for several years now.
Oh,
She's
great.
been on my show several times. I don't know how we met. It's been a while ago. So, yeah, I got questions for you, girlfriend.
Okay.
So, how many organizations of pro-life do you deal with?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of different pro-life organizations, ranging from grassroots organizations to legal organizations to political policy organizations, and APLOG deals with them all because we have a unique gift to the pro-life movement, and that is the professional voice of medical professionals who have looked at what abortion does to women, and we can say that abortion not only kills children, it actually hurts women as well.
And as a gynecologist, you're a gynecologist?
An obstetrician.
Obstetrician.
Yes.
Oh.
OB-GYN is the easier
OB-GYN. Anyways, do you find people in your own profession, gynecologists and OB-GYN, yeah, it's the same thing.
Well, I am really glad you asked that question because I was doing a literature search for a different topic and ran across two papers that were actually pretty recent, one from 2009, one from 2011, that were a survey of OB-GYNs, asking OB-GYNs, do you do abortions? And it turns out that over 80% of OB-GYNs do not do abortions. So it's only really 1 out of 5 OB-GYNs that even does abortions. And yet, despite that, our professional organization, ACOG, is very actively pro-abortion, and they're really pretty much out of step with the membership.
Reality.
But what happens is, because ACOG speaks with a bigger mouthpiece, a bigger microphone, people think that all OB-GYNs do abortions, and the fact is most OB-GYNs don't do abortions, and most abortions are not done by OB-GYNs.
Then who are they done with?
Well, it's a smattering of OB-GYNs, family practitioners, and general practitioners.
Oh.
And some, like in California, they recently allowed abortions to be done by midwives and nurse practitioners, mid-level providers. So it's really...
they don't care, do they?
Well, they don't seem to be thinking about the safety of women. And see, that's where our organization comes in.
They're not thinking of the safety of the children either.
Well, no, they definitely are not thinking of the safety of the children.
Yeah.
And in fact, the difference between, say, an abortion and a preterm delivery is that an abortion, the purpose of an abortion is to produce a dead baby. That was made very, very clear in the partial birth abortion hearings before the Supreme Court. The purpose, the trade of an abortionist is to produce a dead baby. Whereas an OB-GYN, when we have to deliver a baby early, sometimes we do in order to save the mother's life. But the purpose is to save the mother's life, not to kill the baby. And if we could save the baby, we'd do everything we could to save the baby.
Well, how about the what's in the fallopian tube?
The ectopic pregnancy?
Ectopic. Is there any way of getting the baby out, put into the womb?
Unfortunately, not now. I hope that someday that's a possibility. But what happens is when the baby implants in the tube, it intertwines its blood vessels with the blood vessels of the tube. So there's no way to take that baby who is implanted in the tube and then plant that in the uterus. We just don't have the technology to do it. Maybe someday.
Is that rare?
No, actually, I think it's 1.3% of pregnancies in the United States are ectopic.
So, besides that...
Actually, I should vary that. It sort of depends on the location you're in. It's between 1.3% and 3%, depending on the population group.
So, who are you trying to reach out to, basically?
Well, that's a great question. We have a couple different audiences, 3 of them actually. We're trying to reach out to the general public and let them know that not only does abortion kill babies, it also hurts women. And it hurts women in 3 ways. It hurts them by increasing the risk of preterm birth in the next pregnancy when they want it. It greatly increases the risk of preterm birth of the very early 22 to 28 weekers, the ones on the edge of life. It increases a woman's risk of suicide, substance abuse, and major depression that requires hospitalization. And the third thing is it increases a woman's risk of breast cancer. But it's not all abortion, and it's not all breast cancer. What it is, it's abortions before a woman brings a pregnancy all the way to term. And the reason for
hormones.
that, the reason for that is when you go from a non-pregnant breast, a breast that's never been pregnant, to a breast that can make milk to feed a baby, there's a bunch of different changes that go on. In that first pregnancy, the breast tissue grows tremendously. That's why you get breast tenderness. But the breast tissue that grows in the first half of the first pregnancy is very immature. It's very susceptible to other cancer-causing agents.
Oh.
And in fact, breast cancer arises in that kind of tissue type, that immature tissue called type 1 and 2 lobules. But in the second half of the first pregnancy, that breast tissue matures to be able to make milk. And once the breast tissue can make milk, then that breast tissue is resistant to cancer. So one of the strongest risk factors that has been known for years is the age of the first pregnancy. If you bring a first pregnancy to term before age 30, you've decreased your risk. If you wait till after age 30, you've increased your risk. And what abortion does is it arrests the breast in a very susceptible state with a lot of type 1 and 2 lobules, but those lobules have not matured and won't mature until a woman brings a pregnancy all the way to term.
And if she doesn't bring it to term, then it's still in a tender stage.
Correct. It's still in a stage until she has a term pregnancy. And see, that's something that a lot of women don't know, and especially, even moms that are asking their teenage girls to abort, what they're doing is they're putting their teenage girl at an increased risk of subsequent breast cancer because of aborting and then delaying for a long period of time until the term pregnancy. So for APLOG, this is an issue of informed consent, and every woman should be aware of those risk factors. So we speak to the general public and tell them that. We also educate our colleagues because a lot of OB-GYNs are not aware of these risk factors. So we compile the peer-reviewed medical literature and we make it available to them to say, look, judge for yourself. Here's 140 studies over 4 decades that have shown an association between abortion and preterm birth. Here are some great studies that show an association between the ending of a pregnancy before 32 weeks and subsequent development of breast cancer. Here's a meta-analysis of the studies in the psychiatric literature showing that women who abort versus women who give birth, even for an unplanned, unwanted pregnancy, women who abort have a higher risk of suicide, substance abuse, and hospitalizable major depression.
Being promiscuous.
Well,
if they do have a child after that, how do they treat the child?
There's a lot of research that needs to still be done because the psychiatric research is in process, and we would love to see some studies looking specifically at that issue. But I think there's something that we should touch on, though, and that is abortion tends to be a marker of an abusive relationship. If you look even at the Guttmacher statistics as to why women abort, most of them abort because they're single. Most of them abort because they don't think they can financially handle it alone. Well, you know what? They were never meant to handle it alone. Where's the father? And that's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Sex should not be done till after marriage. I'm old-fashioned. Really?
Well, I believe that marriage offers the best, most stable situation for a woman to reproduce. Because when you're pregnant, you're vulnerable. And, I'm a working mom, but I understand the vulnerability that you have, and you need someone to support you during that time.
That's right.
And the fact that guys can be involved for 5 minutes and walk away, this is what the culture has to address. We have to address the walk-away dad.
We have to educate. In the 60s, the me generation, free sex and all that, they drifted away from a natural family.
But you know what? It wasn't free sex for the woman. It was free sex for the guy.
Yes.
But for the woman, she carries that event with her whole life. Even women who abort can frequently tell you what the birth date of their aborted child would have been. They can frequently tell you how old that child would have been. They carry that with them their life.
And if
so it's not free for women.
No.
Free sex, all it did was liberate men from their responsibility to be husbands and fathers.
What about people who do not, get help for what they had done 20 or 30 years?
There are a lot of good support groups.
Yeah. In Canada as well?
Project Rachel.
Do you work with Canada?
A little bit with the De Weber Institute. We're familiar with them. We communicate back and forth.
Because abortion is very abundant up in Canada.
Well, it's abundant here in the U.S. too.
I know.
1 out of 3 pregnancies.
Why do they do it to hurt?
Well, because there are probably 4 reasons. First of all, a lot of women are told it's just a blob of tissue. And so they don't find out what abortion really is until they come in with their next pregnancy. And they see the baby on the ultrasound, and it's a, oh my moment. Because now they realize this is how far along I was with an abortion, and here's the baby's head and arms and legs. It's a terrible moment. And it, I've seen lots of women cry through that first ultrasound when they had aborted previously, and they didn't know.
Is it mandatory now to have an ultrasound?
It depends on the state. There needs to be more common sense regulation of abortion in states. Things like clinic regulations that require informed consent. They require a woman to be told exactly what the baby looks like at this gestational age, that they're required to offer an ultrasound. Things that would help a woman understand before she makes that choice. But instead, too often, women come in and what they're subjected to is not informed consent, but high-pressure marketing techniques. You need to abort now. You need to not wait.
Your child's going to be this and that if he's born or whatever.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that there are marketing techniques that a lot of women have expressed they experienced prior to their abortion.
Right.
And things like informing them about preterm birth risk and breast cancer risk and suicide risk. That's not happening unless a state passes a law requiring women to be given informed consent. And that's why the informed consent legislation is so important. I mean, anyone who is pro-choice should be pro-informed choice.
Yes.
And not giving women the information is managed. Women don't need to be managed. They need to be informed.
Yes, it feels like they're controlling the population, actually.
Well, that is a component of it. I mean, if you look at Planned Parenthood's original agenda, Planned Parenthood started as a way of controlling the, quote, what Margaret Sanger called the undesirable populations. And that is why most Planned Parenthood clinics are located in large urban areas that are Hispanic or African American, because part of the goal of Planned Parenthood, she's very prejudiced. Part of the goal of Planned Parenthood was to eliminate the black population. So it's something that I hope African American women will look at and wake up to, because it's really heinous is the only word I can think of.
Yeah, it reminds me of Margaret Sanger. She was a sympathizer for Nazis, wasn't she?
The Eugenics Society of America. She has one letter I saw that praised the Nazi program for its efficiency in eliminating undesirable populations. I mean, this is really we're talking a lot of evil here.
And there is evil. There is, because I've known people who have had abortions, and it took some of them all their lives to face it. I know other people who won't face it, and I don't know how to approach them.
Well,
I pray for them.
You can do that. You can offer them.
I can't force myself on them.
You can offer them information about abortion recovery. You can make a safe place for them to talk about it, because part of the difficulty when a woman's had an abortion, she wants to grieve. She knows it's a loss.
Yeah.
Where can she safely grieve?
They won't let her.
Okay. Society won't let her. And sometimes, people who are strongly pro-life may not be as sensitive to the heart of the woman who's grieving. Now, there are a lot of pro-life people who work in pregnancy care centers that offer abortion recovery programs that welcome women who are in recovery or starting that recovery exploration with open arms. And I think that's what we need to be known as. We need to be known as a loving and embracing community that understands that these women are hurting, and we need to reach out to them with love and forgiveness.
So I have noticed that people are becoming more interested in saving the wildlife and all that, but they don't want to save their own kind.
Well, I don't, to be honest, I can't understand that.
I don't understand that.
We have...
What is good is bad, what is bad is good. Everything's been topsy-turvy and everything like that.
But we have our children, and we have a natural relationship to our children.
I can't.
And biology tells us that
are there.
They're there, and our bodies change to adapt to that baby. That's what pregnancy is all about. So we're hardwired to bond to this baby.
Right.
And when society makes it difficult for for women to be able to raise children, when guys father children and walk away. You know, these are the kinds of things that we need to address, and we need to put back together the responsibility that men have for these pregnancies.
We have to educate the public all over again.
Educating, and we need some men to step up.
Yes.
And to say, and to teach the next generation of men, look, to man up. Look,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
it's
right.
time. You fathered this child, now you need to father this child, and you need to take care of the woman that is this child's mother. So, you know, we have lots of things to look forward to, and a lot of work cut out for us.
A lot of work to do, girl. Well, listen, I'd like to thank you, Donna Harrison.
Thank you for having me.
For coming on to my show. This is towards the end of the show, dear.
Oh, wow, that was
my
fast.
goodness, that was fast, yes. Thank you for coming on to my show. And thank you, audience, for tuning in and having listened to what we had to say. It was very interesting and very enlightening and very serious. Abortion is not, how you say?
Abortion hurts women.
Abortion hurts women. So thank you. I'll see you next week.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until